So, hello once again. Now, in this review, I will talk more on some of the changes we have made and improvements for inventory generally. Now, a couple of these changes are quite advanced in terms of it will apply more to customers that have a supplier-based system. So, and there are a number of things that we changed. So the first is that let's talk a bit about transfers and some of the changes that are made when it comes to store-to-store transfers. So for store-to-store transfers, we have made some improvements in store-to-store transfer. So you are aware that a business that operates multiple stores can delegate inventory from point to point, from time to time. So if you are purchasing through a central store and you want to send stock to the other stores, you can actually essentially pick all the things you want to transfer, and then you come to stock out and you will choose issue stock or transfer stock to remote store. So that gives you the ability to identify the product you are trying to transfer, the quantities you're trying to transfer, and you can select the destination store. And on selecting the destination store, you essentially leave the default settings for simple cases. And this number that you can see here is the transfer number for the destination. So what that means is that the store that is receiving the goods will have to monitor this tracking number so that they can pick up these items that you are about to transfer. So you transfer, and transfer has been made, and you also receive a message that says online delegate message has been sent. So the products will leave the inventory and will be stored in a particular transfer account. And then using the cloud technology, the products, the list of what you transferred will be sent to the store, and they will expect to receive the product. So if you refresh the list of what you have here, you will see that there is a transfer, the transfer that correlates with what we have just sent, and is showing us the details of the transfer here. We have the details of the transfer here. So this transfer, we can now, for instance, we have situations where some transfers failed, or there is a scenario where the particular transfer, they have to cancel it. So before now, when you make a transfer in StoreHarmony, once that transfer has been made, there is going to be complication if for whatever reason you have to cancel, if you decide to cancel that transfer. So because canceling it will mean that you also have compromised the inventory locally. So you have sent it, and then now the transfer has been cancelled somehow. So you don't want them to receive it again. So you are left with just trying to manually sort out things. So this update now provides a function that we call delete and remove transfer. So when that happens, the system is able to receive authorization, and on receiving authorization, it is able to locate that transfer and remove it from the cloud, so that the destination store that is going to attempt to receive that transfer will not be able to, won't have to be confused, in picking up that transfer next time. So that's very important. So it's now asking a question. The transfer request has been removed. Do you want to delete and revert the local audit trail? So reverting your local audit trail means that the previous items, these 3 items that we have removed from the inventory, we want to know if they should be returned back to the inventory status they were before the transfer. So by approving that, the reverting of the inventory will take place, and that ends that. So that's a very important function for stores that will or planning to do a lot as regarding store-to-store transfer, henceforth. So that's one. Another change we have, a kind of improvement that is also available, is what we call create new stock invoice. Now, this create new stock invoice is more like an upgrade of create or receive new item from supplier. So when you select this, it gives you a window, and in this window, when you are creating product for suppliers, you can select the supplier, and then it gives you more like a set of invoices from that supplier. So you could create new ones, or you could just select an existing invoice to continue working on. So you will have this view to the right that StoreHarmony will use to display all the content that is in that particular invoice. So the advantage here is that, one, you get to monitor the total in real time without necessarily having to go back to purchase invoices. Then you also get to monitor the total price, in real time as well. So it's important for dealing with a lot of volume of stocking for stores that will have a lot to manage, per time. So it just works, the feature, the form works the same way as the existing ones, and then you can essentially select the product, and then you can have the product name, the total quantity you're retailing, the price of what just follow the whole set of rules. And if you don't have a barcode, that's fine. But again, so it's as simple as adding the stock, and so you have the item listed on the other side, so which is pretty basic. You have a situation as well where you could have a barcode. Let's say we have a barcode already in the system. You could scan a barcode of an existing item, in this barcode section, so that you can also pull up a product that is already in the system. So you are still treating the same invoice. Then you can see that the supplier, the invoice number, so it just reuses that. So what this allows you is that you can essentially add this product into that invoice, and that will be it. So it gives a very simple way to manage a set of supplies from a particular supplier in a single session. So it reduces the back and forth and number of clicks to be done. So it's really that simple. So we think that would be handy for people who do high volume supplies. So I think the last thing I'd like to mention in this review is some of the technical changes that has to do with the managing returns for suppliers. So in trying to do a return, we have dealt with a problem whereby when you are returning products to a supplier, you have a scenario where it becomes difficult to undo the cost price of the return. So that when you look at the fact that you could bring in a product at 500 naira, and then later on, because of changes in markets, you have another same product, you can bring it in for 800 naira. So when you bring the one for 800 naira, and then you have another one you brought in for 500 naira, and then you are trying to do a supplier return. So previously, the differences in the 800 and 500 becomes a confusing matter, because the system can post 800 as the amount you're supposed to return to the supplier, rather than 500, which is the true amount to be returned to the supplier. So the changes involved will now enable you to visualize, to see the invoices that were being used to bring in the product and the cost prices. So you can see different prices at different times that was used to bring in this product. So what you want to do is to ensure you select the proper invoice. so that it is the price of what is selected that will be used to calculate what is a return value to the supplier. So you provide a quantity you are returning, and you can use an override function to enforce the system to deplete the quantity here, because there is one of the key upgrades in StoreHarmony you should watch out for is on the batch and invoice column. So when you look at the batch and invoice column, StoreHarmony is tracking the number of the inventory, the batch. So this batch is going to be very important for all the inventory management, especially for the complex, for the businesses that work with a lot of invoices. So a general rule is that you can see this product, and that this product belongs to a particular invoice, which is this particular invoice we can see here. So in most cases, when you attempt to add this product in the same invoice twice for the same supplier, you're going to have more like an error that prevents that kind of situation. So customers should watch out for that problem of duplicating entries. So you already have this item in the invoice, then you now want to add the item again. So in that scenario, you're going to have troubles duplicating entries in the same invoice, So, but watch out for batch numbers, because this numbers here, this batch here, is going to be very important in inventory management for StoreHarmony going forward. So it's going to be critical for ensuring that inventory is not duplicated across different invoices. It's going to be critical for tracking the type of inventory as corresponding to a particular type of supplier and a particular type of invoice. So a question of how do we know that what we are selling right now is from a particular batch of supplies as against another batch. So those are some of the critical things to watch out for in the upgrade. So for those who do regular StoreHarmony, the regular inventory, the simple, the basic ones, they are not going to have to worry about a lot of these changes. For those who run more complicated stores that deal with a lot of suppliers and invoices, it's important to pay attention to these critical updates. So I would expect that we should send in our feedback, questions, and then we can take it over the forum. So this will be that for now. If there is any question, please, you can send an email to the official email info@storeharmony.com, storeharmonytech@gmail.com, and we will get back to you. So thank you for listening. Have a good day.